There are lots of corporate reports this week, so we need to get ready for those. We've got luxury goods companies, we've got tech companies, we've got European banks, we've got aviation, we've got a host of sectors reporting. Plus, it's a big week over in the US for earnings with Boeing, Meta, Microsoft, Tesla, IBM, and the list goes on. For more, we're joined by Rod Turnbull from Bloomberg Intelligence, who's here to preview the week ahead with us. Rod, really nice to have you with us. So technology certainly in focus. What will you be watching from the big tech names?
Well, I think the unifying theme that we might look at across the Atlantic is firstly, it's a show me time for sure, and secondly, CapEx. We are looking at a market for Gen AI of 1.8 trillion in the early 2030s and about 600 billion for GPUs and ASICs in about the same time frame. So it's a lot of money being spent. So we've got Microsoft and SAP, which we can look at in unison. I mean, it's going to be the focus on cloud capacity, the build out with Microsoft and the future for Azure growth. But I think the interesting thing with Microsoft is they're talking about spending 150 billion of CapEx this year. That's about 45% of sales. Now, the market's been prepared to pay about 11 times EV sales for this stock in the past. We know returns are kind of low in this space, so it's going to be a case of are they going to generate something for that amount of spend? And then equally with SAP, maybe not so much equally, but the stock's been up marginally so far this year. Okay. And again, we'll be looking at the conversion of that backlog in cloud.
So that's the show me element.
Very much so.
There aren't many spaces where European multiples are higher than US multiples. Defence is one of them.
Defence is.
So talk me through the week. So we've got, I think, is it Lockheed's on deck this week? Rheinmetall trades on some epic valuation versus the US. Is that going to close in any time soon?
Well, it's interesting. I mean, Lockheed Martin report on Thursday. They trade on 19 times earnings, so reasonable. Everything's going to be about missiles, and that's certainly where the focus is. And you can understand where the theme lies in that. Patriots everything just now. The Americans have the kit that the Europeans probably do need to buy. Rheinmetall, on the other hand, 45 times earnings, Saab in the early 50s. It is, and it's very much dependent on a couple of things. The unity of the EU, and fiscal headroom and the ability to spend on this and execute on that over time, but equally so the industry itself to execute on it and have that industrial capacity to meet the demand. We know demand's there, and we know that growth is being factored in, but can they deliver on that? And I think that's the thing that we should be focused on as they report.
From defence to the pharmaceutical and drug space, is it more of a tariff story, or is it a pipeline story, or where is your focus when it comes to big pharma?
Well, interesting. As we go into next week, we've got Novo and Lilly, so two big key bellwethers in the pharma space, both sides of the Atlantic.
They've been duking it out, haven't they?
They have been duking it out, and they're probably going to be doing that through the first half of this year. What's interesting with pharma just now is perhaps its issues from 2025 are now in the past. There's concessions been made on price, there's manufacturing moved back to the US, et cetera, et cetera. So perhaps that's already discounted. Otherwise, we're looking at a sector that's growing maybe 5 to 6% this year. We've got a couple of big catalysts coming up, one of which will be what looks like good data on oral Wegovy, and then we'll have Lilly data on their oral equivalent in I think, the second quarter. So there's a couple of big catalysts that should come pharma's way on reasonable valuations. And of course, the sector's about, I think, the fourth best performing in Europe so far this year, so a little bit of hope there.
OK, Rod, fantastic setup for a big week when it comes to earnings. Rod Turnbull from Bloomberg Intelligence.